A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello and welcome. It is so lovely to see you today and join me in this discussion about maintaining causes. Because whatever you're doing in life, I do believe that needing to understand what maintaining causes can do and how they can stop you achieving what you want to achieve, whether that be in health, that be in life, whatever aspect of your goals are, maintaining causes is well worth exploring and deciding what you can actually be doing to make life easier for yourself. So let's start by talking about this in a homeopathic point of view, because right from the onset, right from the word go, Hahnemann talked about maintaining causes and how maintaining causes would stop you becoming healthy. So first of all, let's talk in that aspect about what sort of maintaining causes that Hahnemann would have been talking about. So bear in mind, this was 17th century, 1750, 1780, and then on into early 1800s. Hahnemann was talking about the fact that you might be living in a damp house. You might be living and having fires in houses which didn't have chimneys, and the smoke you were inhaling from the fire. He might have been talking about not having a good diet. And this is really important to understand, that even this early, before we knew about germs and bacteria, Hahnemann knew how important eating the right foods were and how detrimental it is to your health when you're eating the wrong foods. And that is so much more apparent now in today's world, when we are just inundated with the opportunity to eat foods which aren't foods, that eat stuff which is not made in order to keep your body healthy. And if you think that it is only food that can provide the nutrients that your body works to function properly, if your body isn't functioning properly because it has some sort of nutrient missing, then it can't possibly do anything about that. We have to give our bodies the nutrition, the vitamins, the minerals, and the compounds that it actually needs in order to function. So it makes sense that we should know what our body needs to function properly. It makes sense that we should know about proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and their role in every aspect. And it makes sense that we learn from a variety of sources, because we know that in the past, people have said, cut out eggs. People have said, cut out this, cut out that. And we need to have lots of sources of information so that we can understand what is good for our bodies, because we know our bodies better than anybody else knows our bodies. And what's right for some people might not be good for other people. We know that a lot more people are allergic to foods, or certainly have sensitivities to certain foods. And we also know that our food that is available on the shelf of the shops is often made for the profit of the manufacturer, adding lots of salt, adding lots of sugar, things that make you want to buy it again. They are not really interested in providing the nutrients that your body needs for good health. They don't mind if you're not healthy. They really don't care. But as well as that, we also have the fact that our farming methods have changed dramatically. Our corn has changed dramatically, and the amount of gluten that is in the flour now is probably a lot more than was in our flour 30 years ago, because of the way we grow the corn, because of the way, sorry, it's wheat. In the US, in the UK, we call it corn, but I know that can be confusing. So the wheat actually, the wheat that we use now has been modified so that the stems are shorter and the heads are much longer, so that we obviously get more wheat per acre, which, we want to feed the world. We want more food available at a cheaper price. That makes sense, but not at the detriment of our bodies being able to absorb and use the food. So we know that a lot more people are gluten intolerant these days. And that could be a multitude of reasons. We're eating more gluten. There's more gluten in the flour. The flour is very different than it was years ago. Our whole diet has changed, and we have modified products in things that we buy that are already made. So we know that we have to learn so much about the food that we eat and make sure that we are eating the food that we should be eating, that our bodies need. But let's go back to our environment. Years ago, we might have had the smoke from our fire being just surrounding us in the house. These days, it might be us going outside, and the air is polluted with, obviously, vehicle exhaust fumes, with all sorts of other environmental issues, factories pumping poisons into the air, and then the rain brings that down. We know that our rain is not clean. We know that it has got a huge amount of toxins in it. It's not as it was years ago. We might think, okay, well, it's miles away, but it's only when things like Chernobyl happen, when a nuclear place in Russia exploded, and over the UK we had a cloud, and people were really affected by the atmosphere at that time. So it doesn't even have to be close. It could be thousands of miles away. You are being affected, but you might not know it. You might have farmers in nearby fields spraying all sorts of chemicals onto plants, onto their pasture. You might have aeroplanes spraying, and we don't know how far that affects us. We certainly are not in control of what is in our water. We certainly are not aware of how the different chemicals that go into our water, even in the concept of cleaning the water, how that affects our bodies. I wonder if homeopaths actually are a little bit more aware of this, because of the people that come to seek help when nothing else works. Then often people will try homeopathy, and you're looking at, well, what is the problem here? What is the maintaining cause? So in homeopathy, if the well-indicated remedy doesn't make a difference, or it makes a small amount of difference and then the symptoms return, we might well have a maintaining cause that is stopping the body being able to hold that remedy and repeat that new form of healing, so that it keeps falling back, and we cannot get anywhere. We become stuck in this cycle. So other things that might be considered a maintaining cause might be a relationship, a bad relationship. If you are continually put down, if you are continually in an angry environment or a negative environment, if you are tiptoeing around other people, this is a maintaining cause that might well stop your body holding a remedy or returning to health. So what can we do about that? What can we do about being in an environment, whether it's an emotional environment, a toxic environment outside, a toxic environment in the house, or we've got toxins in the water or in our food. What can we do about it in order to allow ourselves to heal? Now, some of us have choices. Other people, the choice is much more difficult and it's not convenient right now. So we have to have a look at what we can do now and what we can plan to do in the future. How can we make sure our environment is as healthy as it possibly can be so that we can maintain our health, so that we can return to good health? The first aspect is recognizing that we have got a maintaining cause. We have got something that is stopping our body return to health. And I think just by having that realization, it just helps us realize that, okay, this is the situation we're in now, and we need to do something about it for the future. So quite often, getting rid of a maintaining cause is very difficult. It involves a huge change. I know in the US, I've spoken to many people that have found mold inside the walls, even in new builds. We realise that the way that the houses sometimes are built will be trapping moisture in there that forms mold, that forms ill health. And, we can try and remedy this, but what we really need to do is get out of that environment as quickly as possible. Obviously, if we have got a problem or a bad relationship with alcohol or drugs or something like that, then that can also be a maintaining cause. And it might be something that might take many, many months or even years to rectify. But there are occasions when there are maintaining causes, but homeopathy really can still help. And I learnt this very early on when I was a student homeopath, and one of my student patients I was seeing, and she had very quickly put on a lot of weight and she had become very, very depressed. And she had got the hormonal implant, contraceptive implant, and she had had it for 2 years, strangely enough. And there was, no way that it could be taken out, at that time. It might be in a year's time, it possibly could, but in England at that time, they were really quite severe about, you have this, you've got it until it needs to be replaced, sort of thing. So it was very difficult, and also it was convenient for her, at that age. So I was very, very doubtful, being a student and not being experienced with the power of homeopathy, whether the right remedy, the remedy that just suited her symptoms, would actually be enough to overcome the maintaining cause, which evidently was the implanted contraception. And I was really surprised but delighted to find that actually with the right remedy, she stopped being so depressed. And actually then her change in mindset then helped the process of her understanding her importance of her health and her importance of everything else. And it wasn't that many months before she said, well, actually, I went and insisted on having the implant taken out. But the great news was that a homeopathic remedy was able to go in there and make her feel better. And that was such a relief. And for me, that was a huge, huge learning thing, that even if we have maintaining causes, we must do everything in our power to return to health. We mustn't give up. We mustn't say, because this is happening now, I will not be able to feel better. I will not be able to be in a different place. My health will always be this bad. I am saying never take no for an answer. Always try everything that you possibly can be doing in order to return to health, even if you think it's impossible. So with maintaining causes, we're saying maintaining causes is where we get stuck in a place and it's really hard to get out of unless that maintaining cause is removed. What I'm saying is don't give up, always keep trying, because the realization that you need to do something, the realization that that relationship is toxic, the realization that your body is doing the very best that it can do in these circumstances allows you to be a lot more proactive and positive about the outcome, and that will help. So just thinking about all of those things that you can do and all of those things that I have done in my life as well. Recently moving to a very small island, removing myself from toxic relationships and from negative feelings and environment, and surrounding myself with positivity and new inspiration has been just wonderful in order to achieve new ideas, new creativity, new goals and new achievements. And that is just so exciting, and so I hope for you inspiring that actually you can make changes for your life. First of all, it's the realization that things need to change. And secondly, starting to put things into place so that you can give yourself the best possible chance. So I hope you have found this useful and interesting and perhaps inspiring to look into your health and your thinking at the moment, and see if there are any areas in your life that have become stuck in a place where it is difficult to move forward. What can you do about it? And who has got the help that you need in order to help you move forward? So I ask you to ask questions. I ask you to find out more about the food that you're eating, the water that you're drinking, and the things that are easy for you to change and maintain good health. I ask you to question relationships, question how people are acting and how you take that on board, and see how you can protect yourself in order to be surrounded by people who are positive, and be surrounded by people who believe the things that you believe, so that you get inspired and creative all of the time. I implore you to ask questions and find out more about everything before you make decisions. And don't give up. If you find that there is a maintaining cause that is stopping you live the life that you should be living right now, the acknowledgement of that is a good step, is a real good first step. And to start making plans of how it can change is a really good way for you to move forward and become unstuck. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this today, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Take care. I hope you found that useful, just to ask those questions about maintaining causes and recognise when there are things that do need changing, but they're going to be difficult changes. Now, next week, I'm going to be talking about living on an island, about the difficulties about running a business from there, and about the fantastic aspects of actually living in a small community that gets to know everybody. It's just so inspiring. I hope you have time to join me. Take care. I do hope you've enjoyed these episodes, and I do hope you can subscribe to our channels. Now, there are various ways for you to listen to our podcast or watch it on video on YouTube. So whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, please do subscribe, and please do leave us a review. If you leave us a review on these platforms, then more people will see our podcast. We just want more people to share the joy of homeopathy. It's a choice that everybody should know about. Please do everything you can to help us help more people.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.